Hello everyone, it is Sterling here back for another video, and in this video we're covering a very simple question. And that question, you can see written out here, well actually you can see it now, and it says, do Jehovah's Witnesses teach survival only for baptized Jehovah's Witnesses? And there's two answers to that question you could have. You could say yes, that is what they teach. When I was a witness, that is the answer I would have given you. You know as a witness when you're saying it, like, hey, this sounds very harsh, but you believe that there's one way to worship God, and that is as a Jehovah's Witness. That is what I believed when I was a Jehovah's Witness. And any deviation from that is unacceptable and is going to result in death. If you didn't believe that, why would you go door to door? If you didn't believe that, why do they tell you you're blood guilty for not going door to door? So there's many other things that could support that, but I would have said that. And along with all the articles that I'll play as I'm talking, or show as I'm talking, that's very clearly what the organization teaches. But what I was really shocked to hear, and I'm going to cover the yes side, because there's two ways you can go here. You can come down and you can say yes, or you can come down here and you can say, no, that's not what I believe. So I'm going to address the yes, because I feel like, especially if you're a witness, you really need to think through what that actually means. But to address the no side, I was really shocked at how many witnesses said no to this. And I think if you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness and you're waking up, maybe you're a PMO, physically in the organization, mentally out, or again in that waking up process, it's important to think through all these things. Why do they say no? Well, they say no because it's a very harsh idea. If you think 8.5 billion people are going to die so that you can live on the earth that they have left or have been taken from. But again, you'd be shocked at how many witnesses, and in my judicial meeting as well as both these are on YouTube, so I'm not going to go too into depth in it. But when I was asking questions, I was trying to get a response from the elders. And one of the things I said was, I just don't know how to believe this, guys. Like, it just doesn't seem like the God of love is going to wipe out 8.5 billion people to make room for 8.5 million that are on earth as a witness today. It doesn't make sense. And so I would frequently get that question, even though all these articles I can show you that they have read, they know, they preach from the stage, they will just openly deny it. And so that is something that, again, I was shocked about, and I would love to, if you're a witness, I would love to hear your reasoning on how you don't think that. What I would say is, if you don't think that, then you believe differently from the organization, which in this category and a lot of others, I would say that's a really good thing. But the fact is, you believe differently, and if you believe differently on this, how many other areas do you think they're wrong on? You know, what if they are wrong on the blood issue? I personally, my grandpa, his death certificate reads aplastic anemia. Myself likely have anemia, will likely need some form of support later in life. But I mean, I have a friend who lost children, and I don't really want to touch on that because it's such a hard topic. And I will I will definitely admit, you never know if somebody or a child's going to live in a situation where they need blood. But the one thing is, you don't know that they won't live if they get the blood. And that's the thing is, how in the world could the symbol of life, as said in the Bible, be more important than the life it symbolizes? So again, there's these things that have major impacts on you. It's not just a belief, it's an actual impact, a life or death impact. So it's important you look at this, especially if you're in that category. So that's the no option. Again, shocked how many people will go there as a witness. I'd love to hear your reasoning in a comment below this. It would just, because I can't think of any way to rationally get around that, combined with all the articles I've been showing. But let's take a look at the yes side. Let's say you were like me and you're a true blue believer, and you would have just given the flat out honest answer, which is what I would have done and did many times. If that is the case, then what you believe is that 8.5 billion people will die. Okay, so you got your million, you got your billion, 8.5 billion people. But I don't think you can put that number, I don't think that number makes a lot of sense to people. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. In other words, I can't contextualize 8.5 billion. It's just, I've never seen 8.5 billion of anything other than maybe grains of sand. But again, you're not going to contextualize that. So what I want to do is I want to go a little bit further. This is, right, your whole population of the world. But what I want to do is I want to break this number down, 8.5 billion. I want to find out how many people are between the age of 0 and 1. How many people are between the age of 1 and 2. In other words, divide this number by the average lifespan of a human being. And the average lifespan, if you can Google this, is 79 years. So if you take 79 years, or if you take 79, you take, 8.5 billion, and you divide it by 79, what you come up with is 107 million. Now, what does that mean? Well, so let's write that out again first. What that means is that there's 107 million people in each year of age. So between 0 and 1, there's 107 million babies between 0 and 1. Between 1 and 2, there's another 107 million babies. And that goes on and on all the way up to 79, the average lifespan. That's just 8.5 billion divided by 79. Pretty simple math there. But what does this mean? Like, what it really means is that there's that many children between the ages of 0 and 1. Between the ages of 1 and 2, there's another 107 million. Between the ages of 2 and 3, 107. Now this goes on and on. Obviously, like I said, out to age 79, it's just 8.5 million divided by the average age of a human. Gives you the average number, or gives you the even number across those 79. Now, is it laid out like that across the world perfectly? No, of course not. But this is just basic, simple math. I mean, hell, subtract 20% from the number I'm going to show you, and if you think that's acceptable, subtract 80, 95% from the number I'm going to give you. It's still disgusting. And what I'm saying is, take just the first 5 years. Take just the first 5 people between the age of 0 and 5 years. If there's 107 million people at each year of age, well then 5 times 107 million would be 535 million. There's 535 million babies below the age of 5 in the world right now. That's the whole point I'm getting at. If only Jehovah's Witnesses survive the end of Armageddon, and that is what you believe, then you also have to believe that over 500 million babies under the age of 5, the God of love is going to just wipe them out. And witnesses don't teach, well, the adult will die, but the kid won't die. Witnesses actually teach that if the adult isn't doing what's right, God's going to kill the child. You can prove this to yourself through their publications, which I'll show here as well. But you can also prove it. Go to your My Book of Bible Stories, the yellow one from the 70s, 1978. I think it's number 5 on there. It's a picture of the flood. So it's early in the book. And that picture of the flood, one of the pictures is a mom holding a child. So a mom's holding a baby because the mom didn't submit to what God had said at that point in time. And so the child deserves to die too. Now, that brings up bigger questions, because a witness will say to you, well, see, he did it there. That's what God's going to do later. That brings up Bible questions that you can choose to address or not. That's up to you. I'm not really going to touch on that here. It's a little too sensitive. But 535 million babies is what you have to believe are going to die if witnesses are the only ones to survive Armageddon. So for me, this was a disgusting teaching, personally. I would rather be part of that group that's dead than live with the individuals who are living on the back of the largest mass genocide in human history. A genocide that dwarfs anything any man could ever have conceived of, would dwarf anything that all but the largest asteroids dream of. So it's an important factor to think about, because the teachings are taught in a way to where they're not going to trigger this thought. You're not going to see this breakdown. You're not going to see a breakdown in the watchtower of how many people are going to die, and the fact that, okay, there's 8.5 billion, but if you do the numbers, that's like 500 million children under the age of 5. So give it some thought, guys. I would encourage you to think about this, but if you think about this and you're like, man, that's not right, look into the other things. Look into the child abuse. Go watch the Australian Royal Commission. Go watch Jeffrey Jackson lie to your face under oath. You know, not only the child abuse, but the blood issue, like we touched on earlier, the disfellowshipping. Are you shunning one of your children at this point? Why does that feel unbelievably wrong to you? I literally told my mother, this is so disgusting to say, I literally told my mother, Mom, I can't speak to you. I'm a ministerial servant now. You're disfellowshipped. I can't speak to you. That is, for an organization to be able to produce that in a human, to get them to do something that goes against all sense of natural affection, you have to know that there was an undue influence on your mind. And if you know there was that undue influence on your mind, by researching the topics, the idea that an all-powerful God is so weak, he wouldn't want you to research the topics of a religion that's telling you to shun your family, that's telling you to die instead of taking a blood transfusion. It's just crazy to me to not put that thought into it. So again, if this makes sense to you, please look into the other topics. Ton of information online. I wish you the best. I wish you the best in your continued research, and I'll see you all back for the next one.